Hello and welcome to Doing Time, where humans talk about their experiences in a psych ward. Today we have guest comedian Lindsey Shaw.
Hi.
Lindsay.
Hi.
How are you?
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. I'm excited. So I'm also going to shout out a podcast called Be Positive. It's with Dario Durnham, Delmy, and Darian. Yeah. And he's great.
Yeah.
And their podcast is about how to be positive, how to stay positive, talk about times that haven't been so positive and then how they made it positive. It's kind of more of a brand, I guess, which is pretty cool. So go subscribe to that on YouTube, subscribe on Spotify, everything. YouTube.
Did you say iTunes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe. I don't know.
iTunes.
Yeah, so go do that and then also subscribe, follow, like anything you could do. Doing Time Podcast. Cool. Okay, sorry.
No, you're good.
Yeah, about me. Okay, so first off, I usually just ask, how much time have you done?
Oh, like in the hospital?
Yeah.
Collectively, 2 weeks. So they were two different stints. Mm-hmm. So I was hospitalized twice, like I said, two different times. The first time was in college, and it was after a suicide attempt. Those are fun. Okay. I can tell you the story, but I don't know. Do you want me to tell you what led
you
into,
want? Yeah.
Led into that? I'm
sorry.
Yeah, so I was 20. I'm not trying to make light of suicide at all. I mean, I guess it's a defense. You know, like you've been through it, and I guess it's the famous like laugh about it later. I don't find it funny at all. I take it
you can be open.
I take it very seriously.
No, you can be open and real about it. But the thing is, it's kind of like one of those things where if you've been through it, you can say it. So
thank you.
You don't have to be that careful on this pod. Like,
cool.
Say what you want to say. We can edit out whatever you say.
Great. All right, so I'll be candid. I'll be free, speech about it. Whatever.
Yeah.
Edit that out. And so I was 21, 22, maybe, whatever. It was a long time ago. I was in college. I was going to Michigan State. It was toward the end of my college career.
Yeah.
And I had discovered Coke, and it was like the first time I had ever experimented with that. Or in that time period of like dabbling in it, and like my roommate did it, and like, you know, it was a time period. It was like, who's gonna get the Coke tonight, you know? So I was doing that on top of drinking, and I was in love with my best friend, who was gay and is gay. He's not dead, thank God. He was gay. He was in the closet. So we had this very complicated relationship because we were very, very close. We were best friends, inseparable, and I was in love with him. And he was struggling coming out of the closet. So I think at the time, you know, I was 22, he was 24. Really, you know, we were young. And I think, you know, his struggle with coming out paired with like the attention I was giving him and like the friendship that I provided and what I, you know, was confusing to the both of us. Yeah. So anyway, that's just like kind of, this was a part of it because one night he and I were out because we were, like I said, we were inseparable. We were the best of friends. You know, I would spend the night at his place, sleep in his bed, in love with him. It was, you know, a riot. And so we were out one night, like I said, it was toward the end of college. We were going out a lot. I think I had done Coke, I'd been drinking, and you know, he was obviously just an ornament on like a lot of other things that, you know, that were
like
going
the straw
on.
That broke the camel's back.
Yeah, exactly. Like I had a lot of like issues that I hadn't even begun to work through, and like my relationship with him and being in love with him and feeling rejected by him just like exacerbated things that I wasn't even like skimming the top of yet. Mentally and psychologically and emotionally. So we were, you know, rough night of drinking, and it was just one of those nights where it was like me like longing for him and wanting him to, you know, love me back in the way I wanted him, blah, blah, blah. I go home to my apartment, and it was or the house I lived in, and I had roommates at the time, and it was just the dark depression of coming down off of being drunk and doing drugs and just really, really depressed and lost and hopeless, all of that. I mean, those words don't even really adequately describe what you feel when you want to off yourself. Like, it's just a very, very dark, hopeless, stagnant place. And I mean, I'm sure other people have described it this way. You feel like there's no other solution.
Oh, like none. Yeah.
And a lot of it too is a cry for help, and like you know, like I'm gonna do this thing, I'm gonna, you know, try to do this thing, and if I do come out of it alive, then people will know I'm in a lot of pain. That's true.
Yeah.
So I just took a bottle of extra strength Tylenol. I think it was Tylenol.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was an entire bottle. It was like pretty much full. I don't know how. I mean, there was probably over 30 that I ingested. And then I freaked out. I was so scared. I was terrified.
It's like the in between of like.
Yeah, I was like, what have I just done? And backtracked and didn't want it. I mean, I took them, but then totally freaked out of fear.
They say, I mean, I can't. That's really rough. But they say that a lot of people who have like jumped off like a bridge, they say
they regret it
as soon as they jumped up, and obviously they only know that because people have survived. So, and that's how they know that they regret it. I mean, because people that die, you
well, yeah, they're gone.
Yeah, I mean,
you
there's
have a bit about
there's
when
no
you jumping off a building and landing it.
Yeah.
You'd be one of those that would survive and say.
Yeah, exactly. Well, of course I would, because I'd stick the landing not like a pussy. You know what I mean? So.
Exactly. There you go.
But yeah. So no, but they say that people regret it, and that's a very similar experience. I told my mom, and she's like, "What the fuck?" Like
that people regret it on the way down?
No, like when I took pills, that's how yeah, my mom was like, what do you mean?
So you had taken them and then went to your mom?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was living with her, and I got scared.
Yeah, so so you were with your mom. I was at home, like I said, I was living with roommates, and I called 911. So wow. I was just so frightened, and I didn't go to my roommate right away. But I called 911, and I woke my one roommate up and said, I took these pills. Yeah. An ambulance is on the way. Will you come with me? And I didn't physically feel anything right away, but I went to the hospital, and I remember them saying, it's a good thing you came in, and we're helping you because you would have died a very slow death over the next 2 days. My organs would have just shut. I mean, that sounds dramatic, but that's what he had said to me.
Right.
And I think someone who's in the medical profession sees someone in their early 20s trying to kill themselves. It's very disturbing. It's sad. Right. So I got my stomach pumped and all that. So then I was hospitalized, and it was that happens. It's automatic. I mean, obviously, if you try.
Yeah, there's no way of being like, it was a off day.
Yeah.
I mean, really
won't happen again. Don't worry.
Yeah, I lost my bus card. I mean, it was really just not a good day.
I'm fine.
Yeah.
But I remember, that's one thing I remember though, are some of the medical professionals I encountered, looking at me one nurse teared up, and she was like, why, you're so young. Why would you want to, and I remember her tearing up, and I'm like, bitch, you don't know. I look back on it now that I'm older and think how sweet of her. It must have been whatever. I mean, she saw me.
She could have had a daughter or something.
Right, exactly. That must have triggered it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, as far as being in the hospital itself, at that time and after doing that, it's kind of a reprieve. You're like, okay, I'm getting attention not attention in the way of look at me, but I'm being watch me. I'm gonna twerk. But no, twerking in the hospital, that's something I would do. But
this girl in my sorry. Speaking of suicide, okay, no, I'm kidding. It's really not about suicide, but this girl, one of my old friends, we were friends in middle school. She twerked on a window and fell out of the window. Her legs, there's a video of her doing it, and she just her feet go through the window.
How is this? Was it recorded? It should be viral.
She
had her legs up.
Yes, and her legs fell through the window.
Holy shit! Well, did she break the glass?
It's a cool way to go out, though.
Twerking.
She broke the glass, and then her feet were obviously probably cut up.
Holy shit!
Yeah.
All for the twerk? Not worth it. Not worth it.
I know.
Good story, though.
Yeah, no, but sorry. Anyways, speaking of twerk, which I don't know how you got to that point, but
because I would be twerking in a mental ward,
right.
If it existed at the time. That's aging me, but I'm doing the Roger Rabbit. No, I'm not that old.
Okay.
But yeah, so just being in the hospital, I remember someone hit on me when I was in, like, some kid asked me on a date. I'm like, we're in here. Like, where do you want to go? The calf? Like, where are you going to take me? The day room? Like,
yeah, you sign the check with that pencil that doesn't have an eraser on it, and just,
And yeah, like, the whole thing, I mean, it's just the award, when you're in the hospital for, anything, for mental illness, it's very clinical. It's very, it's this staleness to it. It's clinical. I mean, you have your group activities, you have your meetings with the doctor, and you have, I don't have, like, really awful memories about it. I don't have,
it's just a bunch of mediocre.
It's just like, and I told you, like, I've been in jail. Like, I compare jail to compare jail to being in the hospital because
how long were you in jail for?
28 days.
Wow, you were in jail.
Jail. Well, not like prison.
Okay,
which
but
is better.
Jail in terms of, like, every person I talked to was like, oh, I was just there for like a day or two.
No, I went to jail, and it is similar to being locked, like, in a mental ward. It's not. It's a mental hospital is better, but it's funny. So I think I mentioned to you before. My mom is mentally ill, and she's been in so many hospitals and in and out. I mean, since she was 19, 20 years old. Wow. And she's been in a situation, she gotta find the humor. She'll, like, look back to this one time where she was in the hospital with someone who had just gotten out of jail and then sent to the mental hospital.
Right.
And they were, like, begging to go back to jail.
Really?
It's like,
that's crazy.
I want to go back to jail. Like, that's how bad, I guess, this one hospital was.
Wow. Okay. Did she grow up in Chicago?
My mom?
Yeah.
No, we're from Michigan. So she grew up in Dearborn, which is
I think I've
near Detroit. Yeah,
okay.
It's like 25 minutes from downtown Detroit. Okay. So yeah, so that was my first go around, and again, like, my memories of it were I just remember feeling like somewhat of relief because things had gotten so dark, and I knew I would get treatment now, and
gotcha.
So I knew that I would, like, I would be, medicated. I could talk to a therapist. I could, there was, I didn't go against my will. I think at the time, I wish it hadn't gotten to the point of me taking all those pills and getting my stomach pumped. Because that, that entails, it's like puking and shitting charcoal for hours.
It's
it's it's lovely. So, so I wish it hadn't got, it's unfortunate it had gotten to that point of severity, but I think, ultimately, it was a relief to be treated, Had things been different, and had I had different devices at the time, I could have just, like, gone to a counselor on campus, which I had done, but it just...
How did you feel about the counselors on campus?
Are you working out? How's your diet? Like, I'm like... I am beyond that. Like,
right, you're at such a point that's beyond.
It's like me running on a treadmill is not going to make me not want to kill myself.
Right.
Like, I just, I get how exercise helps for sure. I'm an advocate of that. I know that it, but you have to be in a certain space.
Well, and it's to what you're saying. It's when you say working out, I'm having a bad day or I'm having an anxious day. Let's work out to combat these feelings that are happening right now, but you're at a point that's beyond, and it's like, I'm out of control, I'm extreme, I need help.
Yeah, I'm not going to just go to the gym and feel better in a half hour.
No, and and so that's like today I have had awful anxiety, like just
that's what you're saying. Do you know what it's from? Does it just happen?
It's like cabin fever. I'm not having a lot to do at work right now, so I'm just...
So that would be perfect if you left work today and went to the gym or went to a yoga class, because you could be, if being cooped up and sitting down all day, so it's giving you this anxiety, then you got to get something out of your system.
Exactly. Right? It isn't out about it. But what I was saying is, like, I have a ton of anxiety, right? And that's from that. But I didn't address it until later, and I was like, I can't use the coping skills. Like, breathe. Pretend there's a white ball going up my spine. I'm not going to do that right now because it's past the point of helping.
Yes, exactly.
This is medication time. This is when I'm going to take a fucking Klonopin. This is when I'm going to take, like, there's no, exactly. Like, this is when it's not at a point where I can pull on my sheet of paper and be like, what can I do?
Right. No, exactly. I mean, it gets to a point where it's beyond those sort of, like, rudimentary, like, what are you eating? Are you sleeping? Are you exercising? Like, and those are the kind of, things that I was asked when I did seek help from a counselor. I mean, there was a time in college where, and this was even prior to that incident. I I look back on my college experience with a lot of fondness and a lot of great memories, and I'm so proud of where I went to school, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
The degree did not really propel me as much as I hoped in life, but
Can you speak that into the microphone, please?
Oh, yeah.
Can you say, fuck college? 1, 2, 3, fuck
college. No, I loved school. I'm like, wait. When you said that, I'm thinking, like, wait, am I not close enough?
No. I was just saying, because I'm kind of seeing that side of it where
I mean, a lot of it can, Keep
going.
No, it's fine. That's another conversation. But I'm very proud of my experience. I look back on it with a lot of fond memories. But at the same time, I went through a lot of very dark periods. It was a lot of growing pain, a lot. And
can I just ask you, because I feel like a lot of people on here talk about like the hospitals, and they talk about what led to it, and actually Derek was really detailed about like what he went through that kind of led, and like saying I was bipolar and I had psychotic features. So when you say dark times, what do I mean? What do you mean?
When I say dark,
and also this podcast, share whatever you want if you don't feel comfortable.
I'm fine. I'm an open book about this kind of stuff. No, for sure. I mean that I, at one time, I didn't sleep for 6 months. Literally, I would close my eyes and rest, but like never, I didn't achieve deep sleep for 6 months.
Okay, so it was probably like 2 or 3 hours, or
maybe if that. And I was on heavy duty horse pill size sleeping pills that just weren't. I mean, something with my nervous system at the time was just not responding to even medication.
So was it anxiety that was keeping you up?
It was severe depression. That's when I was first diagnosed with severe depression. Okay.
And you weren't sleeping?
So I got into a really bad car accident. No, it's fine. I got into a really bad car accident. I was T-boned. It was on the first anniversary of 9/11. So it was like the 1 year anniversary of 9/11. And I was driving my roommate to class. And I remember, like, I lived in a sorority house at the time, which, again, for me, was like a psych ward. It was tough. It was. I mean, God.
Look, privilege is hard, okay? I mean...
Seriously.
Yeah, you're like, privilege is hard. I mean, you should have seen psych wards, having insurance is like, it's just, let me tell you about it, Drew, okay?
It was like for me, like, that was an imprisonment, living in the sorority house.
It's almost like a certain mindset in a bubble.
Oh my God!
If you go outside this mindset, you're weird. If you have to stay in this...
and like the privilege, the money, and like whatever. Yeah. Well, no, that ties into my depression.
Whatever, I have it.
No, I don't. I mean, white privilege, yes, but I didn't come from the kind of money these girls came from.
Yeah, no, I'm just
you're
like getting a testimony.
Like, don't get it twisted. Yeah. I'm not. But like,
you're like, I'm poor. You came on this podcast to get money. Actually,
how much am I getting paid?
Yeah.
But that time period living in that house. So I got in the car accident. And I went to the hospital, and I was fine. My car was destroyed. I was fine. But I remember that first night home, because I stayed in the hospital all day, and, like, they had I did get all kinds of tests and x-rays and stuff to make sure I, didn't, like, break anything, obviously. Right. And there was no internal bleeding. I was fine.
Were you hurting, though?
No, I mean, my neck hurt a little bit.
Yeah.
But I physically, like, I walked away pretty much unscathed, fortunately, because the car was completely totaled. Like,
wow.
And it was my fault. I ran the stops. Like, it was on me.
Hey, Kevin, I just want to say.
I rolled through the stop sign, and because I was like talking about 9/11, and like someone had like said something that triggered me on the way out, like something about who our president was, and I'm like, I wish Clinton was still our president, and someone was like, Clinton, what? Oh my God, we all be dead, and I was like, what? And so we got in this like spar about the president at the time, 9/11, whatever.
Wow.
So I'm talking to my roommate still about how could she be that dumb, and how could I be that dumb to roll through, a stop sign? And so it was not funny, but it was 9/11, the anniversary of 9/11. So all the
speaking of hilarity, Jesus Christ,
what a hoot!
Yeah.
No, so the paramedics and the firemen that came on the scene, they're like, "Hey, you got us out of a ceremony." I'm like, "Cool."
Oh my! What?
Yeah, they're like they were trying to make
thank
jokes.
you.
I'm like, yeah. So anyway, that night home after being in the hospital all day, getting hit by a car or T-boned, I remember I looked over at, because I lived in one of the quad rooms, so there's 4 of us in a room, and we had bunk beds. It's so demented when I look back on it, like what the Valley of the Dolls shit. But I remember I was on a top bunk. Why? I don't know. And I looked over at one of my roommates. Yeah. Everyone was asleep. And I remember looking over at her asleep, thinking, I'm so different from these girls. Yeah. And I'm never going to be like these girls. And I'm never going to be as good as these girls, or as smart as these girls, or as rich as these girls. Mm-hmm. And the girl that I was looking at, that sounds so creepy, like I was staring at her as she slept.
No, but it's not.
She was like across the room, and I could see her sleeping. She was one of my best friends. It's not like I was
I was journaling next to her, and I was smelling. I'm like, I don't smell like her. I just really don't see it.
I have her hair in my hand. No.
Yeah.
It wasn't like that, but I just remember like.
You're from Michigan?
Yeah.
Dude, you sound so Jewish.
Do I?
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're like that. I'm like, how are you not?
Oh my
bathing in money. What do you mean you're not like these girls? You're
I'm
rich.
Working on it. Okay. I was just dating a Jew.
Okay. So you're closer.
I'm like,
yeah.
That was your dad's income. He doesn't have any money. Anyway, side note. But that was like, that triggered me that night for some reason, and it sent me into an insomnia state.
Gotcha. Okay.
It triggered. I know that might sound archaic and weird to just be like looking at someone and it triggering something. It wasn't even her personally.
Yeah.
She was more of like a humble middle class background. Some of these girls came from millions. Wow. You know, I mean, they came from a lot of money.
Michigan State is
and they just had a very different background. I grew up with a mom who suffered from bipolar schizophrenia. She divorced and remarried. Like, we struggled.
Yeah.
You know, the only reason I was able to be in the sorority is because my stepdad's mom, my step-grandma, offered to pay because she had been in a sorority.
Wow.
And they wanted me to be involved. And
it's the whole legacy thing, too.
Yeah, and it wasn't in her same house, but she really respected, like, that whole sisterhood. And, like, they knew I really wanted to be involved. Like, I didn't make the cheerleading squad, so I had to be part of something.
Right.
And I didn't make it. So, like, I did. I wanted to be involved. And I wasn't going to, be like on a rowing team.
Right.
And so I did that. Anyway, so it was just that huge feeling of inferiority that kept me up, literally. It plunged me into a severe depression. And when I said dark before, I meant constant thought of suicide. Constant.
Yeah. How
I was going to do it. When, where, how, how. That's all that crossed my mind. I want to sleep. When will I do this? How will I do this? And where, Was
it because you felt alone, you think?
Alone.
Because when I stare at people like that, or look at people and I see like almost like another body coming out, and I'm like, I don't connect with it. This is just like
about that. You mean?
Yeah, it's more like when I see people who are not similar to me, I'm like, that's just the painting of a person. There's nothing I can like connect with or grab onto. No, it makes me feel really lonely.
Really?
Yeah. So that's what spirals my suicide thing. It's like I'll never be that person that is like normal.
Yeah, no, that is a huge part of depression. Is this comparison, right? Uh-huh. And I'll never be them. Now think about it. See, you're what, 22?
Yeah.
So I was your age when I was going through this.
Yeah.
And like I said, I mean, I had not done any work up until that, any work other than like getting through school, making grades to graduate high school, and getting to a good college. Yeah, but like, I mean, I counted out pills when I was 14.
Wow. Okay.
I thought about that. I was depressed from a very young age. Wow. And I don't know why. I just didn't. So much was preoccupied with my mom's illness.
Right.
How was I supposed to be like, hey, by the way, I need some treatment too.
Right.
Thanks. Which I should have been locked into therapy from age 4.
Right.
But this isn't blaming anyone, whatever. But like a lot of shit went on, and so like a lot of things were like I said, preoccupied with and focused on my mom and her treatment and all of that. That it was like, I got to get through school. I got to make good grades. I have to.
You don't have time to deal with it.
I just had to get through.
Right.
The main priority was have friends, get good grades, be liked, and go to dance class. Like, like those are, and then don't kill yourself. So
that last part's really important.
Yeah, like don't off yourself.
Yeah. Okay. And we are back from break. Okay.
Hello.
All right, I wasn't professional, I didn't cut off these fry edges. So I read this book.
I'm offended.
Yeah, so time for class. Can you stop talking, please? Okay.
Sorry.
Depression 101. Take cut. Okay. So I read this book. If you want to read it, it's actually a really good book. I have to say the second half
hard to read.
It was too repetitive by the end. When you're like, we
get
it. You hate yourself. You're depressed and Jewish.
Next.
Yeah, I mean, I can say that.
I know you can.
Yeah. Okay, so
My great-grandma was Jewish.
It's called This Close to Happy, so it's already a depressing title. It's like
This.
Yeah.
Right there.
So, but as I read this before I started my podcast, and as I was reading it, I was like, and I could highlight on my Kindle, so I highlighted all these things, and then I started the podcast, and I was like, I have to talk about this with somebody who's experienced depression.
By the way, what a great idea.
Thank you.
You should be very, very proud of yourself. This
my God.
This is a topic that needs dialogue. It needs attention. It needs to be, destigmatized.
There you
Is
go.
that the word?
I just blinked both my eyes. I was like, yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Blink twice with both eyes.
My very sexy wink.
No, but you should be very proud of yourself, and I'm
you.
very proud and happy to be a part of this. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, of
okay,
course.
so it's called This Close to Happy, and there was a lot of quotes that I read that I almost like gasped out loud.
Really?
You know when you read books about depression and it's like, okay, you're in bed, yada yada.
Yeah,
and it's like
it's like you said.
it almost is worse than when people have the idea of depression. You're conforming
it's
this
really
idea
hard to
that
explain. That's why I get so so defensive about people saying suicide is selfish. It's like if you've never been in that state of mind,
no, you don't.
There is no there you
don't get to
you're
judge.
not experiencing exactly, and when someone is in that state of suicide and they're suicidal,
Yeah.
there isn't a variation in their mental capacity to be selfish or unselfish or mean or not mean or happy or that's what I meant by dark. I mean, that's a light word for how bad it feels.
Yeah.
It's
something
physical. It's physical.
It's actually physical.
And
You feel like there's a hole inside of you.
and that there's
Scary.
Yeah. And I'm looking at Robin Williams right now. I was
I
so
know.
devastated when he died. Well, I was just such a fan, and he was and is my favorite stand-up comedian of all time. He is my
I didn't know
favorite,
that.
and I loved him, and I just was so upset when he died. And my friend was like, "Well, that was selfish of him to do. He left left kids behind." With Anthony Bourdain and Kate Spade, it's like if you've never felt. And yes, I'm sad to see them leave. I'm sad to lose them as a pop culture, an art, installment to art. But it's like they gave in to it. They gave up. And they gave up, and it's so
But
sad that
sometimes
they
you
got
feel
to
like
that
it's,
point.
but it's like not giving up though. It's almost like you don't think you have a choice.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Because
You're
I was
right.
gonna say you were saying that's kind of your only choice,
It's the
right?
helplessness, the hopelessness, and these vocabulary words can't even really
There's no verbal
adequately
there's no
describe
Yeah.
how low and sad and alone and dark
There's
it
no
is.
description. That's why that's so funny you say that, because that's why people think that when you say that, I'm like, but it's worse than that. So why are you masking it with those words?
Exactly.
And it's not that I'm disagreeing with you.
No,
I'm just
no.
saying
it is worse than that though.
Right.
That's why I say there isn't a
No, I know.
qualifying word.
Right, and I'm agreeing with you in that sense
Yeah.
that it almost seems like you're masking it, but that's the only way that's the only vocab
If
we
I
have
could
to
come up
describe
with a
it.
suicide dictionary, I would.
Right.
I might do that actually.
Yeah.
I'm gonna call Amazon.
Side projects,
Yeah. Bezos, watch out.
Okay, so there was a lot of quotes that I really liked. This one that I have down, we'll talk about maybe that at the end, but there's one about the psych ward, because I know people people have just asked me in general about facilities. I don't know about psych wards, and you kind of mentioned it, but it said the facility was run as a business that took care of the unfit not only out of compulsion but also the coolest profit-making instincts. People were discharged even if they wanted to kill themselves the day before, which is true.
That's scary.
Yeah, but that's so true.
So I had so there was another suicide attempt in college,
Oh, wow.
and I wasn't hospitalized. They let me go.
No.
Yeah, so...
Okay, so you're this part of this
that,
quote.
That's
literally.
well, yeah, and my mom came and picked me up, and see, my mom, again, nothing against my mother. I love her dearly. She does what she can, and with her faculties, all that. But I think for a mom to see that her child is in that much distress, I can't imagine how that must have made her feel. Right. On top of all the shit she deals with her mental illness.
Yeah.
So she picked me up and took me shopping.
Wow.
And we went to lunch. It wasn't I don't think she knew how to respond. I would call her that time period when I couldn't sleep.
Yeah.
I would call her asking for permission to kill myself. I'd say, let me go. I'm staying alive now just for you because I don't want to hurt you. Let me go.
Wow.
That's what I would crying.
Sorry.
She would say, you have your whole life, you have there's so much ahead of you. This is temporary. You're not always going to feel like this. And I would cry and plead for her to let me go.
Sorry,
I'm far away from that now. Thankfully, I've gotten help. I still have thought, I get to points of depression where the suicide crosses my mind. But not to that point, ever. I've stayed medicated the last 5 years, and I stay in therapy, so...
That brought me back to, like, a lot of things, and I don't get brought back to a lot of things, because,
really?
Because I'm very, past a lot of things. My anxiety is out of control. But my depression, I'm not depressed. Like,
good.
Thank you.
Relief,
I know.
right?
It feels really good. But
good.
I get close.
And but see, that's the thing, like, tell me if you agree, like, because you've been through those times, and, like, the attempts or those dark periods, for lack of a better word, and if you come up with like the right sort of coping mechanisms, you can see it coming, and know how to combat it. Yeah, it's self-talk, and right, you have mechanisms now.
Yep. But that brought me back. Yeah, it's more anxiety now, but it brought me back to this time when I was diving at Denver. This is when I dove for
You've
like
done
a year
it all,
and a half.
by the way. Dive, comedy,
you.
gymnast, like.
I'm hot, so.
Yes!
No, I'm kidding.
You do it all.
Thank you. No, I appreciate that. I was like, when's she gonna say it? That's the only thing I care about. Okay.
You're hot as fuck.
Thank you. Sorry, I like your. Those are cool pants. Anyways, I was just telling our producer how I have the worst ADHD. So anyways, okay.
It brought you back.
Yeah, it brought me back to Denver. I dove for a year and a half and felt super lonely. Looked at these people, which I think honestly really, really liked. My diving teammates, I really liked them.
You probably really admired them. Almost
I did.
To a point of fault, almost to a
right.
dangerous, unhealthy
I'm not
point.
like them, and then it brought me back to when my mom came to see me in conference, and it was like my second year. I also took a 4-month break from diving because they wouldn't let me dive because my depression was so bad.
Really?
But they're like, you still have to come to practice. This was a year and a half ago.
Oh, yeah, so recent.
Yeah, or 2. No, this was like 2 years ago.
Okay, still recent.
Sorry, I'm sorry. My timeline's a little bit off. Probably 3 years ago.
Well, when you're that sick too and depressed, like things blur together.
It is
right. It's like
it's a literal fog. But I see it through the fog.
Right, because you felt it, and you know how intense it felt.
So I was at the diving conference. My mom came, and I told my mom, I was like, I have been wanting to kill myself for actually like 6 months. Like you said that? Thinking when you said suicide every day. Oh, every day. Not all the time, but every day.
Every day it crossed your mind, at least once.
Every day, and when somebody.
It consumes you.
Oh, and there was a story about this girl at my school who like jumped out a window when she was drunk and fell, and it scared me. Not fell, sorry, she jumped.
On purpose?
Yeah. And I almost was like, she's so lucky.
Did she die?
Yeah.
Oh, you thought
she committed suicide.
You were envious of her.
Yeah. Like, now that I'm thinking about it, I think I was a little, like, I was like, I wish I could, like, do that. Like, I was so...
It's getting the... I don't know if it's something...
But sorry.
Yeah, no.
So you were saying you were in this state of... And so my mom saw me, and I was I would cry and be like, why can't you let me kill myself? Like, I would get delusional.
Yeah.
I was like, why? And I don't talk about this, but like I will. This is what my podcast is for. Mm-hmm. But I would actually just be like, why wouldn't you let me? I'm like, what are you talking about? You like me? I'm like, you don't like me. I'm like, you came here, but like you just did that because you felt. I would make up lies. But it was like,
that's what's coursing through your mind. That's all that's going through your thought processes. Yeah. I'm not good enough.
But I would only talk like that. I would only talk like that to my mom. Like anybody else, I have this self-awareness to be like, don't talk around these people. They'll think you're fucking crazy. Like, actually,
Mom, listen up.
Exactly. But I was like, I was torturing her. But I was like, no, I was like,
could you imagine?
You would want me to kill myself. Why wouldn't you want me to kill myself? Constantly. And she's like, what is wrong with you?
Broke her heart.
Yeah.
But you weren't doing that to hurt her. That's another thing. Going back to like the whole selfish thing. I
actually believed I sucked.
I know.
Like that's what goes on. People don't get that.
I know, and it's not a selfish thing.
No, you don't see it from the outside.
It appears selfish because the person who's in the pain is all self-consumed by pain.
Right.
But like you said, you hate yourself. You don't feel worthy of living.
Right.
You don't have any self-love. You don't see a point. You don't value your own life because you don't think it's worth anything.
Right. You don't value your own life because you don't even think you're living life. You're just actually existing.
Yep.
You're like, you're just in the world, but you're not. Like, I was on the train today and I had so much anxiety. I was like, wait, I'm actually going to take the bus and go to Laugh Factory. I'm actually going to step outside, go down all those stairs of the train, go through the metal thing, go through, like, I was like breaking everything down I had to do. Step by step? And it's actually just like 4 blocks. But in my mind, when you have anxiety, you
Did that help you to do that? Or
no.
That's how bad it got.
It makes my panic go up.
Oh.
Yeah, so I start to like evaluate every step of the way,
like minute thing.
And that's how did I get over that? How have I just walked miles before without even thinking about it?
Really?
That my anxiety, oh my God. It's just constant. This is when I'm about to have a panic attack. This is not every day.
Right.
This is just when I'm about to have a panic attack. I'm like, how do I ever take the train to work? How do I get up, go to, and it's a, yeah, so
I'm
it's.
Sorry.
Oh, it's okay.
And you get on stage, but look at, like, you get on stage, you produce things. Like, to deal with that and also, you know, engage in something like comedy, that it can be so nerve-wracking and so, you know, like, that's
but that feeling,
that's a huge
it's a different
triumph.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Same with you. But that different feeling it's way different. It's when I, you know.
From depression, you mean?
Oh, when somebody does something shitty to me or heckles me and I roast them and I that joke crushes, there is not, it's like I have so much, I feel like I'm on top of the world. Yeah. For that 2 seconds. And, then I bomb and I'm like, oh.
No.
I'm like, yeah, that's why suicide's an option. Yes. That is why.
Always there.
Yeah.
Always there.
This is like in the back burner. No, so another thing that really resonated with me was, there was one that says, I admire other people's resourcefulness when their plans go awry. The ones who persuaded themselves that every bump is a boost, who pick themselves up, dust themselves off, and start over again. But I can't figure out a way to emulate them. So now I can do that. Yeah. That's so easy for me. When I'm depressed, I read that and I was like,
that's real.
Yeah, I felt like a white girl. And I was like, she gets me. You just don't. It was just.
Well, that's funny. Okay, so I have come into that mindset more now later on in my life, almost 20 years out of the suicide attempts, where I can face some huge letdown or some bump in the road, for lack of a better term, with a quicker bounce back.
Yeah.
I take rejection differently. That's what I always say about comedy. Like, no matter what happens with stand-up comedy, no matter where it takes me, whether I get discovered and get on Netflix, or I'm here in, you know, when I'm 42 still begging Curtis for stage time, regardless of where it takes me, no matter what happens with it, I've learned so much about how to work hard and not be entitled, and to roll with rejection, to not let rejection define all of who I am, not let one no define how I see myself.
Right.
And, you know.
It's very important.
Yeah, but I mean, going into comedy, I had, like, started working on that, but wow, did it really propel me even further into that work of rolling with rejection and not letting, you know, because I was always an all or nothing person. It's either got to be all, if it's not fame and fortune and all of it happening at once, then I'm nothing. That in between didn't exist. Like appreciating the process.
Oh, and black and white.
That black and white. That is how I operated my whole life. I'm still coming out of it. I'm still coming out of it.
Wow. Yeah, I went to a therapist when I was in high school. I went to her for 4 years, and I went into her one day when I was like at my rock bottom of that, and I was like, I can't be black and white. I just can't. It's too I'm getting sick. Like I'm too exhausted. My OCD is out of control. And she was like, all right, let me tell you about this color gray, right? So it's like, and that was like a whole session.
No, I love that. And it's like, when you have the mindset of all or nothing, even hearing like gray, you're like, ugh, like that would frustrate me, you know? Like,
well, it frustrates my OCD because everything's either all bad or perfect to a T.
Exactly. That's exactly. And I had a therapist say, bring that to my attention, you know, at the ripe age of 29.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh,
where were you at first, bitch? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, like, hello. But she's
twiddling
like,
your twat. Sorry. just twiddling it. All right. So.
No, but like, it wasn't her fault. Like, I hadn't like gotten into proper therapy until way too late. Yeah. But yeah, that it was really kind of relieving to have someone say like, well, this is. Your feelings like you're thinking like this, black or white, all or nothing. it's that harmful level of perfectionism.
But also when you think black and white, you think you're above people.
Oh yeah.
You think like your thoughts
like,
are the only thoughts and your comparisons are the only comparisons, and the gray people, they don't know.
No, and that's wrong.
They're not on my level of smartness or intelligence.
Right.
Where they and then you realize you're just projecting and you want to be like them.
Exactly. You want to be able to have an in between where like the process is enjoyable, or you can find the enjoyment in the process.
Exactly.
Or, it's like I'm still like I said, this is still a work in progress for me.
Yeah.
To think that way and to like accept, evolution of things.
For sure.
And not get freaked out about things not happening right away. Or being perfect or being all of what I'm hoping for right away.
Mm-hmm.
So
So no,
important.
and that's also being. What did you say? What was the last thing? Being okay with not being perfect right away.
Yeah,
that's
not having all of it right away.
Yep.
Patience. Yeah.
Yeah. So the last quote I want to talk about, which was like the one that got to me the most, was, "No one is interested in why you want to kill yourself until you've already done it, and then it becomes intriguing to try and map it backward."
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's.
I was like,
that's a big one. But a lot of
mic drop. Fuck.
Well, that's why when someone's
God damn it, Daphne. Whatever her name is. Okay.
No, but that's again with the people saying that it's a selfish act.
Yeah.
In other people's defense, sometimes when someone's so depressed and suicidal, they're not always coming forward like we went to our moms.
Yeah.
They're not like able to delineate and articulate what they're going through. You're scared to admit you're that sad. You're scared to admit you're that.
Yeah. You know how sad you are, but you do not want to admit you're sad.
No, not to that point, because what are people going to think?
Yeah.
It's that whole thing. And I think now, more so now than maybe like 10, 15 years ago, it's not as taboo to bring this sort of thing up. That's why how this is amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah, seriously, it's very important to talk about. It's very important not to feel like you're some freak or crazy.
Right.
Or, I went through that my whole life growing up with my mom. We were less than. We were, we weren't not necessarily a minority, but in a way, ethnically a minority. We're white, but I was just talking to someone about this the other night. We were still on, like, marginalized in a way because her mental illness made us not like everyone else. Yeah. Her mental illness made us, there's the label of crazy, insane, what a nut job, this, that, these words, these labels that can be very dangerous and, whatever.
I need to stop saying crazy. I say it because
I do too. I mean, I do too. It's not... But more and more time goes by, it's going to be up there with words like the R word and
for sure. No, that'd be dope.
You know what I'm saying? But we were on, we felt, or I as a kid felt ostracized.
Yeah.
We don't have that nuclear family and the corporate lifestyle and my mom battled a really severe mental illness, so like going to school I would have to go talk to social workers on a regular basis, so it was just...
You were actually in a different world.
I was in a very different world.
Yeah.
And my point was the stigma that is around mental illness that is just now getting broken down, like I said, in the last 10, 15 years. Mm-hmm. Imagine that how like thick it was in like the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
And... you were not...
viewed different. Yeah.
You're viewed differently. You're not... it's something people are scared of. Matters of the mind, people are really afraid of. If someone has cancer or, diabetes or a brain tumor, okay, let's go visit them in the hospital. Someone's mentally ill and hearing voices or suicidal, what are we going to do with that?
I see.
Do you know what I mean?
Oh, dude, I'm getting emotional. So I was
I
talking
almost cried a minute ago.
Yeah, so Carly was talking about how, the comparing the physical
attributes.
Yeah, to mental. And
yeah.
That's so funny you say visiting in the hospital, because I only had one friend that visited me in the hospital.
I didn't have any.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
My parents came to...
Yeah.
I mean,
my friends weren't allowed to come, but the one that in Denver, she was the only one. She brought me like nail polish and like just it was the sweetest thing, and I will never forget it, ever.
Because you feel alone, and if someone's not scared to go to that place, because the mental hospital, for someone to come and let you know you're not alone means everything. My friend was hospitalized a few years ago, and she called me from the hospital, and it was right around Christmas, and I didn't know the number, and I knew to answer, and she was calling. She was living out west and got hospitalized. She had a horrible breakdown. And she was, saying, I just need to hear your voice. So thank you for answering. There's this guy that keeps staring at me. He's this old man that's weird and says I have magic in my eyes or some shit. And so I'm like, okay, Bambi, you're going to be all right.
Yeah.
No, but like that's very, very important. I mean, you can laugh at it.
Yeah. No, but that's kind of like what makes it, easier
Bearable.
and lighter. Okay, so I asked like for topics we wanted to talk about, but we actually just like, we're kind of out of time, but I kind of want to just address really quickly, maybe talk like a couple more minutes about this. So, the question was, can you talk about the realistic or not realistic aspects of movies and mental health and how it's portrayed?
Oh, this is a hot
but
one for me.
But it's so hot, and I'm like, we have 2 minutes.
But it triggers me.
Okay.
Because. And I think it goes back to what we were saying about like there aren't adequate words to describe these feelings. Like it kind of saying dark, sad, lonely kind of downplays how it actually feels. Yeah. That's my same feeling toward movies that are made about mental illness. Because what I saw growing up, I've never seen in media.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
Very rarely. Like, okay, did you watch,
and when
it's just a misrepresentation for me, personally.
And when it is, represented, it's that whole, like, oh, he's, like, intriguing almost.
Yeah.
He has this thing
like
about
romanticism about it.
He has this thing that nobody else has, like Psycho or whatever, and, like, he's slowly figuring out, oh, he's bipolar. But then when you meet somebody with bipolar, you're like, fuck you, I don't want to be near you. Whatever.
Yeah, okay, so
Okay, you can drive across country and think you're God. Woohoo. See you later.
Chill out.
I mean, yeah.
There was that movie with Richard Gere where he, I don't know, I forget what it's called, but that was, like, one of the closest depictions I've seen in film that, like, properly showcased for me how mental illness can affect someone in a family.
But Shameless. Have you seen Shameless?
On Showtime?
Yeah.
I've seen it. I mean, I'm not really.
Okay, Ian was bipolar, and they actually. I don't have bipolar, but I've been misdiagnosed with it.
I'm glad they figured that out.
No, I wasn't bipolar. I was like, no. But I'm better than I'm just kidding.
I'm above that.
Yeah. Fucking kidding me. My mom's mom was bipolar, and my mom's aunt is schizophrenic. I'm literally 2 years away from that, Lindsay. Pretty close. I mean, just wait a couple of years. God damn. I'm gonna die soon. Okay, never mind.
It.
All right. Semicolon. What's it? Fuck. My story's not over. Well, it might be. Okay, I'm just kidding. Okay, so yeah, no, it was. I think it was a good depiction because he was in bed and then he was, and they showed.
So he was really depressed and then doing.
They showed both sides, but usually they don't show both sides.
No.
They show just.
They don't show both sides, and what something that kind of irritated me recently in media in a show was, did you watch what is it called? What's it called? Russian Doll.
No.
Russian Doll.
Okay. Quick synopsis.
I recommend it.
Synopsis or what your thoughts are.
No, what's it called? I love the main actress in it. Russian Doll. She relives the same day over and over. It's like Groundhog's Day, but kind of cooler. Yeah. Anyway, her mom's mentally ill, and they show like a flashback of her mom throwing plates at the wall. Now, okay, that's my mom used to like break glass and like burn pictures and shit, so that is a part of it. I guess
it's a quirky.
They touched on one little cute thing. But like, I guess I get angry, and that's just my own bullshit. Yeah. Because I'm like, you didn't live what I lived through. Like, you know what I mean? And I guess maybe it's just some anger I need to still work through. But like you said, they don't always show both sides, and I don't know how healthy it is to romanticize it because it's like, are you still scared to really talk about this and what it really is? Yeah.
But also too, it's almost like when you see a famous actress you really like, you almost get more in love with the person and not the character. Like I've fallen more in love with it. I'm like, wow, they're so good at acting. And, like,
as opposed to like what they're trying to.
And they're so cool. And then when you go to the psych ward and be bipolar, you're not befriending that person. You don't think that person's interesting.
No.
It's like it's different. It's stigmatized different in the sense of you're gonna think that person is different compared to what you're seeing on the screen. You're so intrigued and invested,
but then with the actor themselves, I mean,
but then
because it makes,
but then in real life,
you forget how bad this thing can really be.
Right.
It would take a really, really strong performance and a really good actress. Oh my God. Okay, I know we're almost out of time. Oh my God. Blue Jasmine.
Okay.
You've never seen it?
No.
Blue Jasmine with Cate Blanchett. She is mentally ill in this movie, and oh my God, toward the end, well, I don't want to ruin the end for you. Got to watch this movie.
No.
And
but
that
I'm
was
just
a
saying,
strong depiction for me.
That's great.
Strong depiction of like how it can be.
Yeah.
And how out on the outskirts of society you can end up.
Yeah. But what I'm saying too is like when you see somebody who on the film with like bipolar, you're like, oh, that's so interesting, and you tell people it's about this guy with bipolar.
Yeah.
That's so intriguing and cool. And then like you see a homeless person, you pass them, you don't even look at them. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's
you're
treated
right.
It's treated completely 100%.
Different. When you see people talking to themselves on the train or bus, it's not because they're necessarily on a bunch of drugs.
Right.
They need to be on drugs. They're mentally ill and hearing voices.
Well, like drugs, like serotonin reuptake.
Well, that's the thing. I would always say, like, there are moms that would take drugs. I had one of my ex-best friends. Her mom was a meth addict. Her mom took drugs to get high. My mom just has to stay off of them.
Right.
To be really high.
Exactly.
So it's just a chemical thing.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, sorry.
so much.
Thank you for having me. This was great.
Thank you so much. You were really vulnerable. So was I.
I know, I almost cried.
I think it was great to like talk about suicide, especially this month was Suicide Prevention Month, so it was kind of cool that you just naturally want to kill yourself. No, you just naturally.
You are on brand.
Yeah. I mean. If the
this is your month, babe.
I mean, seriously, this is my month. I like to call this, So,
my hands are sweaty. He's light.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard being famous. So, anyways,
right?
Okay.
It's exhausting.
No, so basically, it's Suicide Prevention Month. So I was saying thank you for bringing that stuff up, and you brought up some very graphic stuff, which is like really good to listen to and hear.
Thank you for giving me and all of us you've had on the space to talk about it.
You're welcome. Thanks for doing it. And tell people your Instagram where people can find you.
I'm at Linsasha, Linsasha.
Okay, and please subscribe on YouTube, follow on Spotify, subscribe on iTunes, rate, review, everything. Thank you so much for watching Doing Time.